Okay, good day. Welcome to episode 3 of Solving Common Entrance Practice Questions. I hope you enjoyed episode 1 and 2. Now we are moving to the next one, next set of 10 questions, and I hope that you learn one or two things today. Okay, so let's go to question 1. Now question 1 says, what is the total of 24 dozens and 48 scores? 24 dozens and 48 scores. Okay, I'm sure you know what 1 dozen is, how many 1 dozen is, and also you know what a score is. But if you don't know, that is why I'm here, so I'll be telling you that. So 1 dozen, a dozen is actually 12. So what we are saying is that we have 24 12s. That means 12 in 24 places. Okay, and then 1 score is actually 20. That means we are talking about 48 20s, 20 in 48 places. So the total is definitely going to be 24 times 12. Okay, so that's going to be 240 and 48. So if you multiply that, you should be getting 288 there. And then for the second one, don't forget that 12 means 1 dozen. So we have dozen 12 in 24 places. That is what 24 dozens mean. And then we have the second one, which is a score is 20. So 48 scores is going to be 48 times 20, which is going to give us 960. Okay, so 960, and then we are asked to look for the total, which is actually sum. So you add 960 and 288. So that will give us 8 here. This is a 14. Take one to the other side, that's a 10. 10 plus this is 12. So we have 1248. Okay, number 2, find the average of 1/4, a quarter of 12, 3/5 of 70, 1/6 of 72, 2/3 of 18, and 3/4 of 48. Okay, so that means we have to solve each of these to know what they are. After we know them, then we look for the average. I've mentioned the average to you in our previous episodes. So let's go 1/4 as 1/4 times 12. That is 4 here is 1, 4 here is 3. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 3/5 of 70. 5 here is 1, 5 here is also 1, and in 20 here, 5 here in 20 is 4. So 14 times 3 should give us a 42. Okay, and then we have 1/6 of 72. 6 here is 1, 6 in 72 is 12. And then 2/3 of 18 right here. 2/3 of 18, just follow me. 3 here is 1, 3 here is 6. So 6 times 2, we have another 12. And last but not the least is 3/4 of, which is times 48. So 4 here is 1, 4 here is 1, but 4 here is 2. So 12 times 3 is 36. So we are asked to look for the average. That means, remember the formula for average? The formula for average says that the sum of all the items, their sum over their number. So what does this really mean? It means that the sum of this, which is, let me rule a line to separate this. So this will give me 3 plus 42. So because of my space, I'm going to be adding 12 and 12 together. So that's 24 and then plus 36. That's the sum, and then the entire, how many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's average. Sum of all numbers divided by how many they are. Okay, so adding this, 3 plus 42 is 45, and I'm still at the top, the numerator, adding up the numerator. 3 plus 42 is 25, and 24 plus 36 should give me a 60 over 5. Okay, so adding this up will give me 105. That's 45 plus 60. 105 divided by 5. So 105 divided by 5 is a 21. So our average here is 21. That's our final answer. Over to question 3. Round off 17,499 to its nearest thousand. So 17,499 to the nearest thousand. Okay, so here the first step is for you to use your place values. You have to, so 7 here is our 1,000, and 1 is our tens of 1,000. Okay, so we are rounding off to its nearest thousand. So I want you to take note of this 1,000, nearest 1,000. So you are dealing with this. This is where your 1,000 starts. So nearest 1,000, 7 is our number here. So you pick your 7. Next step is for you to look to the next number, which is a 4. Look to the next number, which is a 4. If this question has said to its nearest hundreds, so you have to hundreds, that means this will be your number 4. But it says to the nearest 1,000, so I'm starting with a 7. Next step is to look next door. Check next door. Look at the digit next door, which is the 4. Now, if 4 is more, if the digit here, for example, is more than 5, greater than 5, that means you have to cancel it and add 1 to your number, which is a 7 here. If it is less than 5, you will just probably ignore, or let me say add 0. So 4 here is part of this less than 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. They are all less than 5. Okay, they are all less than 5. Then that means I'm going to be adding 0 to my 7 here. So for this top one, if it is greater than 5 or 5 itself, so greater than or equal to 5, you add 1, but it's not greater than or equal to 5, it's less than 5, so we add 0. So I'm adding 0 to my 7, so it still remains 7. 0 plus 7 still remains 7, and this 1,000 comes here. So everything after that, my number, which is in the 1,000 part, turns to 0. So our final answer to the nearest 1,000 is 17,000. You can also check my video about rounding off, approximation and estimation and all that. It will throw more light to this question. Okay, number 4, find the sum of the squares of 0.13 and 0.18. So this is squares. So 0.13 square, sum now, plus 0.18 square. So I want you to look at something very, very quickly. Now you notice that 0.13 has 2 decimal places. 0.13 has 2 decimal places. So what we are trying to say with a square here is, if there is 10 square, it means 10 times 10. 11 square is 11 times 11. So 0.13 here means 0.13 times another 0.13. and then 0.18 here means 0.18 times 0.18. So whatever we get, we'll add on both sides. Okay, so yeah, you might want to do the long method of, using your column method and multiplying and all that. But there's a trick to this. Now look at this. This has how many decimal places? 2 decimal places. This has 2 decimal places. So what you do is keep your decimal places. 2 and 2 will give us a 4 decimal place at the end. And then you just multiply 13 by 13, which is 169. So we have 2 decimal places here, 2 decimal places. So you add the decimal places together and put it in your answer. 13 times 13 is 169. So 4 decimal places, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So point stays here, and the space here are the 0. So here is going to be 0 point, this point, 0, 1, 6, 9, then plus, this is 18 times 18, which is 324. You also put in your 4 decimal places, because I have 2 decimal places and 2 decimal places here. You see that? So 4 decimal places will land us here, 0.4 decimal place, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are adding this, so that will be 0.00169, adding sum 0.032 and then 4. So adding that, 9 plus 4 is 13. I take 1 to the other side. That's 7 plus 2 is 9. 1 plus 3 is 4. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 0. So that's our final answer for that. Question 5. Okay, so this is in indices. Alright, so you have to be careful. You might not want to do 3 raised to power 10 is actually 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 in 10 places. You understand? But you wouldn't want to do that. There's something called the law of indices. Law of indices. So what I want you to mind is this one is identical to this one. You see that? 3 is the base here, and 3 is also the base here. And then this 4 is identical to this one. You see that? So what you are going to do is separate them out. So when you separate them out, you have a division here. But let me cite you an example first before we even go to this one. So if we have a raised to power 5 divided by a raised to power 3. So what you will do here is pick one of the bases according to the law of indices, one of the laws of indices. You pick one of the bases, which is 1a. Now 5 and 3 will subtract each other. The reason they will subtract is because there's a division here. If it is a multiplication, it will be an addition you do for the powers, but it is a division, so you do a minus. So 5 minus 3. So my answer is going to be a raised to power 2. So doing this, so pick 3 raised to power 10, and because I'm having a division between this and this, between 3 raised to power 10 and 3 raised to power 7, that will be divided by 3 raised to power 7, and then of course times right here 4 raised to power 7 dividing 4 raised to power 5 right here. Okay, so doing this according to what I did here, this will give me, you pick one of the bases 3 and then 10 minus 7. Remember, it's a division in between them, so it's a minus. So this will be 3 raised to power 3, and then this times comes down. 3 raised to power 3 times 4. Yeah, you pick one of the bases, 4, and then at the top you will have 7 minus 5. Minus because we have a division between them. So that will be 4 as the base, and yeah, we have 7 minus 2. So here is your final answer. You might decide to multiply it out. So 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27, and then 4 raised to power 2 is 4 times 4, that's 16. So you multiply 27 by 16 to get your answer. But you can also leave your answer in indices form, like this, index form, in this way. Okay, number 6. Let's go to number 6 very quickly for our time. The length of a tree, 120 meters long, increases by 20%. What is its new length? The length of a tree, 120 meters long, increases by 20%. What is its new length? Okay, this is pretty easy to do, so I'll just want you to look at this. This is percentage increase. So the initial length of this tree is 120 meters, increased by 20%. So we have to do 20% of that 120 meters to know how much that increases. 20% of 120 meters. So that's 20% is 20 over 100, multiplying 120. So 0 cancels this 0, and 0 here cancels the 0. So 1 is, of course, inconsequential there, and then 2 multiplied by this is 24 meters. So this means that the extra length that was added, increased, extra length that was added to that tree is 24. So the new length is going to be what the tree has as the height before, 120 meters, plus the extra 24 meters that was given. So the new length of the tree, is going to be 144 meters. You see that? 144 meters. That's the new length. Okay. Question 7. Find the loss percent if the loss is 17,500 and the cost price is 87,500. Okay, percentage loss, formula for percentage loss is the loss over the cost price multiplied by 100. So I want you to learn that. If you don't know it before, learn that. If it is profit percent, this loss here is going to be profit. So profit over cost price times 100. But it's loss, so let's deal with it. So loss percent equals loss. Our loss was given to us 17,500 over the cost price, which is 87,500 multiplied by 100. So follow me. I have 2 zeros up here, cancelling 2 zeros down here. So you can do this, gradually using 5, starts with 5 and all that. But 175 in 875 is actually 5. That means 5 times 175 is the one that gives us 875. So you can do it gradually, but because of our time, I would skip that. So we have that 5 here. So 5 here is 1 and 5 here is 20. So the percentage loss in this case is 20%. Hope you understand that. Question 8. The perimeter of the floor is 24 meters. if the length is 7, find the breadth. Definitely this is a rectangle because it has length and breadth. Okay, so don't forget perimeter, distance round. So let me just draw a diagram of a rectangle here. So this is the breadth, this is the breadth, this is the length, this is the length. So what we are dealing with here is the perimeter is the distance round. That means adding everything, length plus breadth and length plus breadth. So perimeter is length plus breadth first, and another length plus breadth. So that was how it was derived, that formula was derived. And because length plus breadth is coming twice, so we give it as what? 2 into the bracket of length plus breadth. So now that we are looking for the breadth, so the first thing we are going to do, the formula is to divide the perimeter by 2, and then you subtract the length. This 2 here comes under the perimeter, and this length goes as a subtraction. So the breadth will be perimeter divided by 2, that's 24 divided by 2. You get your answer, then you subtract 7. So 24 divided by 2 is 12, minus 7 is 5. So the breadth here is 5 meters. Question 9. Question 9 says the perimeter of a square is 64 centimeter. Find the value of one of its lengths. Now this is about square. So we have here perimeter of a square. Remember, a square that has all the sides equal. The square has all sides equal. So the perimeter is the length plus the length plus the length plus the length. That is why it is 4 lengths. That's 4 times whatever the length is. So to get one of the sides, length here also means side. So to get one of the sides, which is the length, that means I have to divide the perimeter by 4 to get exactly what one of this is, which is 64 in the question. Perimeter is 64 and I divide that by 4. So 64 divided by 4 is 16. So one of the sides is 16. This means that this is 16, this one is 16, this one is 16, and this is 16. 16 plus 16 here is 32, plus another 16 is 48, plus another 16 is 64. Over to the last one, question 10. How many days will a journey of 168 hours be? 168 hours. We are just to convert that to days. So you need to ask yourself, for one day, how many hours would I have? Remember, you should remember that from your year 1, year 2. So one day will definitely have what? 24 hours. 24 hours. So if one day has 24 hours, that means that I have to divide 168 hours by 24 to know the number of days I'm going to be having. So I'll start with 8. You might start with the simpler number, maybe 4. Okay, let's start with 4. 4 in 24 is 6. That's 6 times 4, 24. And 4 here is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Now 4 here is 2. 42. 6 here is 1. 6 and 42 is 7. So that gives us what? 7 days.